Well, hey, good Wednesday evening to you. It's good to see you all. It's good to be seen by you. And if you're just stopping by for the first time, you might be wondering, who is this guy? Who am I? Well, I, of course, am the Dungeon Delver, also known as Bill Sylvie, furthermore known as the Jam. And it's good to see everybody. And I hope you're doing well on this Wednesday evening. So tell you straight up, there's no particular agenda tonight. We're going to talk about C1. We have Wednesday, we usually go long-ish anyway. But here's the deal. Kyle is obviously not here this evening. We didn't open up with any credits for Traveler. We opened up with the usual credits. So we're just going to be kicking back and just having a good time. But anyway, I wanted to give those of you who have purchased a Beholder status update. 7 are done. 8 is printing. 9 and 10 will get done tomorrow. Well, because 7's not going to be done till like 2 or 3 in the morning. And even though I might technically be up at 1:30 or 2, I am not in a sleep deprived state going to go out there and dig around with resin because, I'll forget a respirator, or I'll forget to put on gloves or something like that. So if you ordered a Beholder, it's coming real soon, because once they're done, I print up the stands, and then you will get your invoices, and then you can pay me, and then I'll mail them out. So I would say by Tuesday at the very latest, those will start flying out across the land to those who purchased them. Now, if you missed the Beholders, don't be sad, because I am offering after that, we're doing the Great Devil Face wall tile from S1, The Tomb of Horrors, which will be painted. You will receive that painted. I will paint it. Each one will be hand painted by yours truly. So you have your own little devil face to intimidate the hell out of your player characters with. You can just drop that right into your dungeon. Same price, $25, same run, 10 of them, not 11. And if I only get 9, we don't do it. But if I get 10 requests, then I'll do the print run. And there'll be something after that. Owl bears. I will do the Chinosaur owl bear and the OD&D owl bear, the one in original D&D with kind of the long, weird neck that Greg Bell drew. Yes, I have an STL of that. And they will be offered together. It will cost more, probably $50 for the pair, but you get 2 owl bears. Can you get one that's at least 10 feet tall? Let me work the math on this, Jimmy. Okay, let me see. The devil face walls are 2 by 2. The devil face walls are 2 by 2. That's awesome, Mobius. You just need to find 9 more people. So 1 square feet of them would be how many? And then multiply that by 10, and then wait about a year for me to print it up and replace my printer a few times. And I think we can work something out. It'll cost you a lot. The shipping alone might kill you, but anyway, so that's what's going on in the tchotchke grift department. Now, there is something even further down the road. And I mean, like, if the Beholders go out and immediately 10 people are like, I want I get 10 people that want devil face walls, and I get 10 people that want owl bear sets. Like bam, 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 all through October and in November. It won't, like when those are all out, it won't be like, okay, here's the next thing, because the next thing requires a lot of legwork on my part, a lot of legwork, and it will be fairly expensive to the point that I may say I'm doing 5 of those. You strayed into my wife will kill me. Yeah. Honey, what's this? Are these Lego? What is this? How much did this cost you? Come here. I want to talk to you. So that's what's going on with the grift. And that's all I'm really going to talk about it right now. I'm literally looking on the table. I have a tray with the 7 beholders that I've printed up so far sitting on it, which I would gladly show you guys, but that webcam has decided to go to sleep, and I don't feel like restarting everything and putting you guys on hold for a few minutes. It'd be easier. Yeah, it really would. It really would. You just go to Lowe's or Home Depot and just get yourself some foam insulation. Stop by the craft store on the way home. Get a Wonder Cutter and some water-based craft paint, and there you go. So anyway, and Mobius, it's two owl bears. It is the owl bear in Supplement 1 Greyhawk, and it is the Chinosaur owl bear that is in the first edition AD&D Monster Manual. It's not quite, in my opinion, it's not quite as cool as Jim Rosloff's owl bear, but if you want that owl bear, they actually sell it. Otherworld Minis does a metal one that I highly recommend. So that's what's going on with that. Now, again, tonight we're going to talk about C1. We're going to talk some more about Dungeon Module C1. Now, I put the call out. I said anybody after we talk about C1, because this could go on for a while tonight. We could kick back tonight. We could talk about a lot of stuff tonight. I said anybody who wants to come on the stream, excuse me, let me back up from that. Anybody in the Traveler game who wants to pop in and shoot the breeze on the stream, we'll do that. Yes, $50, but it's two. It's a Chinosaur. It's an OD&D mini. Shortwave radio oddities. The United States runs a number station that is alternately called I'm Gonna Blow You to Smithereens or Yosemite Sam, because its header and trailer are a sample from a Bugs Bunny cartoon of Yosemite Sam saying, "You want to refund it? I'm going to blow you to smithereens." And then the coded message goes, and then it ends with that. In Florida, the Cubans ran one, but they screwed up because they started reusing their OTP, their one-time pad, and they got caught. They ran the Atención network. Cuba ran a spy network in Florida, probably for Russia. It was the Atención network. But they were largely spying on Cuban dissidents in Miami and elsewhere in Florida. Any large expat Cuban communities, they were like, if you're like trying to send coded messages home to say, hey, Tio Alberto is going to stop by with this fishing boat this hour, and you just swim out, You get on the boat and, that sort of thing. There's the Lancashire Poacher, which plays a couple of bars from an English song, the Lancashire Poacher. There's the Russian Woodpecker, which was a shortwave enthusiast in southeastern and central Europe, Poland into Germany. Actually, I think it got all the way up into Scandinavia, depending. But they had a long wave radar. Basically, it's a LPAR, large phased array radar. If you've seen, well, there are like first person shooter maps set around Chernobyl, and there's like this gargantuan, like 10 drive-in theater screens high and 50 drive-in theater screen wide. They look just like chain link fences, but on a mega scale. Those are designed to see low-flying cruise missiles flying into the USSR. They output so much wattage that they interfere across bands, and it creates a beep or a click at a regular frequency. And ham enthusiasts and shortwave enthusiasts in Western Europe, using simple math, were able to triangulate roughly where it was coming from. So it was known as the Russian Woodpecker. That's not really a number station, though. Yeah, the Lancashire Poacher is kind of creepy. All number station stuff just is friggin' creepy. The creepiest thing about number station to me is literally after, like, a couple of years after the advent of radio as a hobby, the first number stations were recorded. Like, early spy networks were right there on top of the technology. They were using it right then, right there. So it's been around as long as you can imagine. And I mean, there's FCC guys will look you straight in the eye and say there is no such thing as number stations. It's, hey, just some rando reading stuff over the airwaves. That's not a number station. There are number station. It's one of those, we can neither confirm nor deny. I think, I could be wrong about this, but I think it was some English official. Somebody asked him a question about number stations, some British government official, and his response was curt and to the point. And it was basically, I can neither confirm nor deny what they might or might not do, but I can assure you it isn't any of your business. I thought Review Bra just talked about fast food. I honestly thought Review. I'll tell you, I saw a funny clip. I don't know how old it is, but I thought this was pretty good. He kind of made a little meme of himself, and he did this review of McDonald's, Wendy's, and somebody else's French fries. It's like McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger King, and he voted which one was his best. And he said, so this is the best French fry. It's Wendy. I find Wendy's French fries to be the best. He eats them and just kind of slumps back, doing this, like, okay, camera's off, whatever. And he picks up his garbage bucket that he keeps next to him, and like just chucks the boxes of French fries in there, all of them, the Wendy's, the McDonald's, the Burger King, just chucks them all in there and drops the bucket and reaches down and brings up a bag of Chick-fil-A, and he's like obviously enjoying the Chick-fil-A waffle fries, and he kind of glances over. He gets this look of horror on his face when he realizes the camera's still on, and lunges out and shuts it off. Oh my goodness. But yeah, Review Bra is a charmingly odd fellow. We salute you, Review Bra, wherever in Florida you are. Lots of good YouTube content out of Florida. Speaking of foods, Steve, 1989 MRE Info. He's just over on the west coast of Florida. I've never met him myself, but this is a dude. We talk about rations, okay? We talk about D&D rations, like what would your characters eat? What would your characters find? What would be in iron rations? Steve has eaten those things. I don't mean like Townsend's. Townsend's is another great channel, but he's up in the Northeast. I don't mean Steve, like, here's some venison and I'm going to prepare it, pack it in salt, right? Some natural pepper and clover. And we're going to, no. Steve, 1989 MRE Info is a dude who samples military rations, all military rations, from as long as there have been military rations. He has eaten military rations from multiple countries going all the way back to the 1800s. He cooked and ate meat porridge that was packaged for British troops who were fighting in the Boer War. Let me run that by you again. He cooked and ate, at the time, 120-year-old meat powder. He hated it. He said it was awful. Thank you, Crimson. Fire Bill O'Brien. Gosh darn right. $10, Fire Bill O'Brien. I don't care if that flies over the head of the rest of you guys. Crimson and I know what it's about. Fire Bill O'Brien. He ate Boer War rations. Is that safe? Probably not. He talked about how disgusting it tasted the whole time he ate it. But he's eaten older. He bought a hardtack biscuit that was issued to U.S. troops during the Revolutionary War. He bought one. He boiled up a pot of chicory, broke up the hardtack biscuit, and dissolved it, and proceeded to try and eat it. He has literally eaten almost 300-year-old food. And I'll tell you this, the only thing Steve, 1989 MRE Info, has ever gotten sick from was a brand new Chinese Air Force MRE, mainland China. He ate the rice, and what he thought were chunks of seaweed or cabbage, as it was bright green. It was the pork. That's the only thing he's ever eaten that ate him violently ill. He's made an entire dinner out of this for 4 persons survival package of canned spaghetti and meat sauce from the Vietnam War, from the 60s. He doesn't have a stomach of iron. He has a stomach of depleted uranium-lined titanium, guys. But yes, he's here in Florida. So he's playing Fallout for real. Yeah, you know what? I absolutely think that. Steve MRE 1989, or Steve 1989 MRE Info would absolutely positively thrive in the Fallout world. And the guy's style, the guy's shtick is amazing. His catchphrase is, let's get this out on a tray. Nice. To the point that I've seen other YouTubers Not even talking about I used to watch Lazy Game reviews. I stopped watching him for reasons I don't want to go into now. But when Steve opens an MRE that's been sealed forever, he'll go through and he'll be like, it's okay. So we have our mains, we have some fruit compost. We're going to mix some dry milk powder in that and have that for breakfast. And of course, we've got our accessories pack. Let's get this out on a tray. Nice. I'm watching Lazy Game reviews one day, open up this multimedia kit package from the 90s for PCs. And he slipped a package of accessories, forks, the plastic things. Like if you go to a really good barbecue place and get to go, they give you the plastic baggie that's got a fork, a spoon, maybe a plastic knife, a napkin, a wet nap, salt, pepper, a little hot sauce, all that stuff. So he's opening the box and pulling all these components of this, the sound card, the CD-ROM drive, the free copy of Descent, the free copy of Cyan's Mist, the cables. He's like putting all that out, and he shakes the box, and out drops the knife and the fork package that he had snuck in there, and he goes, and there's our accessories. Let's get this out on a tray. Nice. But anyway, so yeah, Steve MRE, 1989. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff. The green stuff was Wave of Mutilation. The green stuff was pork. Yeah. You can go watch the video. You can go watch the video on his channel. Don't go now. Stay here. But Steve is awesome. He does his channel. Every once in a while, he kind of breaks his stride a little bit. He breaks his style. I think it was around Christmas last year or the year before. He went camping out in the wilds of Florida and he shot like 2 multi-hour videos that he boiled down over the course of the day of just him just out there camping. And it was just nice to see. It was just nice to see. But anyway, thank you again, Crimson, for the super. Yes, fire Bill O'Brien. Dismiss him from the University of Alabama football program. Send him packing. Pork is not supposed to glow green. It's supposed to be kind of a pinkish gray color, or sort of a caramely brown color. I have people message. Who's messaging me? Oh. So let's get on. We've wasted almost a half an hour of me talking about MREs and college football and everything else. So we're gonna dive right back in. Now, last night we kept talking about the hidden shrine of Tamoachan. And some interesting stuff. Are you guys still enjoying the dive we're doing on Tamoachan? Are you guys still digging it? Do you still want to do this? Yeah, I mean, a modern MRE is just it's kind of a meh TV dinner, which as food you would have to eat sitting in a foxhole goes is pretty friggin' awesome. Winterwolf says they love the dive. Jimmy says absolutely. Wave of Mutilation, Damien. Okay. That's not a majority, but that's 4 of 12 of you. So unless the other 8 of you don't want to hear it, we're pressing ahead. So we're going to share the screen. Now I found out I can share this PDF as a slideshow. It kind of does the same thing, but I don't have to share my screen. But I don't have the same control. I can't jump around like to the art inserts and stuff. So let's add this in. And you guys can listen to me mutilate Olmec words further. All right. Mike says, I enjoyed the dive, but now I'm into eating old MREs. That's on you, Mike. Good luck and Godspeed. Love the dive. Was prepping to run C1. Well, thank you, David. Thank you. Did you subscribe? Luther, we haven't done Lost City. And hello, by the way, Mr. Just Stroll In like he hasn't been gone for weeks. Or maybe you've been out there in the audience. I don't know. So I hope you subscribed, David. And if not, anybody out there, if you haven't subscribed, please do click the subscribe button. Click the bell icon for notifications. We do talk about more than other channels that talk about eating horrid things. I promise you. Working on that backlog. Well, I'm working on the front log, so keep up, man. You're going to have to watch 2 videos at once. So get you a couple monitors and a mono into each ear. And write me a letter from the mental home. No, it's okay, Luther. I understand. Working for the bad guys. You know, everybody thinks Relax by Frankie Goes to Hollywood is the track. It's Two Tribes. Two Tribes is a much more serious meditation on nuclear war, which was on everybody's mind at that time. Two Tribes is, without a doubt, the better track. Okay. And it's good to see you again, Luther, regardless. So we'd gotten our little gold tchotchke from the Hall of Great Spirits. But what does it do? It's the size of a bracelet and was either a ring, earring, or other piece of stone giant jewelry. The ring contains rock magic and appears to have a value of 1,250 gold. When this ring is worn, it gives the wearer the power of the ring in a magical touch and also makes the new owner immune to that touch. The first 3 times a ring is used, it will turn flesh to stone as the spell. If this power is used against stone creatures, the being saved is at +2, and if successful, the ring will turn the wearer to stone. No save allowed. Each time the power is used, the ring will decrease 200 gold piece in value. After 3 initial, it becomes a ring of stone shape. Each time this is used, it devalues by 50, and after that, it becomes lead and valueless. Hallway of the Ancestors. We talked about the zombies. We just kind of skipped over the ring. That is a neat ring. And that goes back to part of the awesomeness that is this module. That is a wonderfully unique item. And we've talked about the silver coffer. I think we came down. Yeah. We stopped just before we got to the spirit guard of Aoquan. A massive bronze door forms the entrance to this grand chamber. This apartment is filled with rubble and broken, lifeless statuary. In ranks, half fallen is an army of clay statues from what must have been an impressive array. First, there are spearmen, perhaps 20 of them, outfitted only in scraps of leather now. At their feet lay obsidian spearheads and bits of rotted wood shafts. Behind these are archers in scattered formation. Few remain standing. Their arrows are long gone, but they hold laminated bows, dried and worm-eaten. Further into the room are figures of men with war clubs and hand axes, wearing scraps of ochre lacquered leather. Say that 10 times real fast. Sandals and caps. Beyond all of this, at the back of the chamber are a group of statues that must have been an honor guard. They are standing about a domed structure. These warriors wear feathered robes and headdresses and are armed with pitted bronze spears. Each of these figures was a breastplate of threaded shells. The stucco dome has no apparent openings. In an east wing of this room are 3 large carved stone stelae and the remains of a sedan or litter with statues of attendants standing in harness. About a dozen clay women in court, bedecked in feathers and shell jewelry, stand in attendance. So what we have here, because no room that gets this much discussion is just like, well, it's what you see. It's dusty old stuff. We move on. Luther, what have you done? Shout out to Luther. This is shout out worthy. This is going up on the screen. The Lions and Dragons Society D&D Club is growing out of control. 54 at last meeting, expecting 65 at the next one. This is a conservative estimate. Salute, Luther. That is amazing. You have done an incredible job, and those kids are in for a great time. Well done, sir. Well done. So what we have here in the curtain portion of the litter are the skeletal remains of a human, arms shackled to an arm of the sedan. In his ribcage may be found 3 arrowheads. Behind the middle stele is another bronze door barred shut with a pitted copper bar, so it may not be open from the outside. Mixed throughout the broken clay at the base of the statues are beads of coral and shells worth a copper each. There are a total of 4,800 beads worth a total of 24 gold. So if your characters really want 24 gold pieces, they can spend the time to collect the beads. And I would say that's probably at least 100 pounds. I don't know. I could be wrong. I mean, they could mean beads, like little tiny things. May just be 5 pounds. Who knows? The stucco dome is a cairn. It is a weak construction and may be broken into in 4 rounds by 2 characters working together. Inside are 6 sets of bones and 6 jade bead pectorals worth 43 gold pieces each. In a dusty corner, an amulet of silver and turquoise. This is an amulet of protection versus turning. See below. In the center of the floor of the cairn is a bronze and cryopraised lamp set into the stucco worth 14 gold. Lifting it will open a hidden door in the floor, releasing Aoquan from the compartment in which he has been trapped. Aoquan is a white with those stats. Magical or silvered weapons, yada, 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 immune to blah, 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 blah. He wears an amulet of protection from turning, which prevents clerics from turning evil or undead until it is destroyed or removed. Every turn that it functions, the amulet will grow a vile green. So no, he can't be turned. Yes, you have to fight him. No, he's not hit by anything but silver or magic. I once had a character ask me if they could hold silver coins because they were bereft. They were without magic items, and the party was fighting a white. And he asked if he could hold silver coins in his hand. Or maybe it was Aurora money. I don't remember. But we'll just say they asked if they could hold silver coins in their hands and bash at the white in question. And I thought it was a pretty creative use. So I allowed it with minimal damage. I thought it was pretty good. I let it go with minimal damage. Would you guys have done that? Would you have allowed it? Let me know in the comments. I'm sure you will. Let's see. A large block of stone obstructs the corridor here. It does not seem to have been a part of the original construction, for its composition is more sandy than those stones that make up the rest of the ruins. And it basically stops you from going down, but it can be pushed back on the rollers with a combined strength of 45 or moved out onto bare stone floor with a total strength of 50. Note that if the block is pushed up the rollers, it will roll back the next round to block the corridor, if not break with a large object. Chamber of the Nasewal, the Achieved Ones. I feel like we've already talked about this one. Yeah, Potion of Dreadful Sleep. Yeah, I feel like we already talked about this one. String of silver coins tied to one's gauntlets like a Roman cestus. Sure. We have a triangular pillar. Now, this has got a will-o'-the-wisp. The bobbing light is a will-o'-the-wisp. It will attempt to lure the party into a trap where it may feed upon their deaths. The will-o'-the-wisp will lead parties coming from the west to the sandbox, number 24. Parties from the north, who will already be familiar with the will-o'-the-wisp, will be led to the silver coffer, 19. And remember, the will-o'-the-wisp can just zap at will. I think a 3 to 12 damage lightning bolt or energy bolt. But the sandbox, as the party walks down this narrow passage, they will hear a click and then a crash as a copper-bound door comes roaring down in front of the party, blocking the way. To the rear, another door will crash down. For 3 segments, nothing will happen, and the characters may investigate the doors. These are barriers made of heavy timbers bound with copper and are a foot thick. After a moment of silence, there will come the sound of stone slowly grating on stone. Rows of 8 slots will open near the ceiling in both walls. Some dust will trickle from each. Characters may now examine the holes just open, each about the size of a fist, or they may continue to work on the door. Again, a few segments will pass. And remember, segments are 6 seconds. All at once, there will become a cracking and rushing sound, and golden sand will start to pour rapidly through the holes. The floor will swiftly be covered by the sand. A globe of light will slip through the beams of one door. It moves to hover near the ceiling, twinkling cheerfully. And that's the will-o'-the-wisp. And it's hoping to feed on the party's dying agonies. So basically, the party has to cut their way through, and there's all these detrimental effects that pile up over the course of rounds. Rounds 1 to 3, characters must check each round to see if they slip. There's also 1 in 8 chance of a character choking on the dust in the air and being incapable of any action that round. After the 3rd round, 1 character must scoop sand away from the door in order to work on the door. Rounds 4 to 5. All movement is considered encumbered, and all blows will be at -1 to hit and damage. So if you're trying to chop, you're running out of time. 6 to 7, characters must save versus petrification or become trapped in the sand. Once entrapped in the sand, another save versus petrification must be made the next round to break free. All blows are at -2 to hit and damage. 8 to 9, characters must save as above, but once trapped, they may not free themselves. There's a 50% chance of suffocation per round. 10% each additional round, which will cause 1 to 8 points of damage. All blows are at -3. Round 10. All characters take damage from suffocation as above. There is no chance of striking or movement. Goodbye. Chilling, isn't it? Next, we got 13 Fire Beetles who want to eat the party. Near their nest, you can find 3 turquoise worth 50 gold piece each and a +1 dagger, pitted and rusted. If the dagger is used, there's a 1 chance in 20 it will break in combat. You're quite welcome, Luther. You're quite welcome. Thanks for all you guys do. When I used to do this channel, now I've said this before. We're going to come back to this. I've said this before, and I mean this. I mean this wholeheartedly. If there was one person out there who was getting enjoyment from what I'm doing, I'd still do it. I would still do it. In fact, when I used to do these streams just kind of like in the middle of the day, middle of the afternoon, I just 1 or 2 people watching at a time. Now, on the regular, I get 15 or 20. And I still think that's awesome. So, you know. Hoping I dive, White Palm and Pharaoh and Lost Tomb of Marte. I don't have those. I don't own those modules. I did own them once upon a time, but I had to sell them. I had beautiful copies, but I had to let them go. So, I mean, I guess I could do the PDFs. It's not like I show you guys, like hold them up and read from them. But if you really want to, if you really want to deep dive on those, I will do my level best. I'm not sure how much history research I'll be able to really put into them, but I can at least do like what I'm doing here. No, I get it. Tamoachan is a gnat flying around here. Tamoachan is you know, it's not to everybody's taste, and that's fine. Jimmy says he loves bronze, cries of praise, vivid, green, etc. It does. Hey, a good D&D module when we were kids sent us for the dictionary in the little book nook in the hall. You know, mom and dad had the encyclopedia and a dictionary and a thesaurus, maybe an atlas. A good D&D module would make you do that. It really has. I mean, I could do this, and I have occasionally read from a book sitting here holding it, but my arms aren't quite long enough anymore. And the typeface in those books, it's shrunk. It is like shrunk down over the years. So being able to read this off the screen to you guys is a benefit. But now we come to the first tier. See, we've been underground. Now we're at the first tier. And we come to the stairs. In the middle of this flight of stairs is a pressure plate, which releases a millstone concealed in the wall at the top of these steps to send it rolling down the stairs. For a tournament plate, this trap will work automatically. Otherwise, the trap is triggered 3 times out of 8. To dodge the millstone, a saving throw versus petrification must be made. Stephen Donaldson will send me looking for my dictionary. Awesome. If the characters react quickly, they may save it +2 by hugging the walls. Failure to save results in one of the following. 1 to 4, take D8 damage. 5, backpacking contents are smashed and destroyed. 6, packing contents are torn away, but recoverable. You have 2 pairs of glasses. Now, here's the thing. I had LASIK done in 2011. I can step outside and pick out details on the surface of the moon. I can go out to the corner on the highway and look down towards Sanford and see about halfway there. You get in about here, and things just start to go to hell. Because LASIK, you've got a lens made of gel deep in your eye. And as your eye reshapes to focus on thing, it makes it change its shape. And it focuses. Well, guess what? When you turn 40, it hardens. And it doesn't change shape anymore. And it doesn't focus right anymore. And LASIK won't do anything to help that. Just fucking gnat. Anyway. So being able to do this and zoom in is a lifesaver. Oh, I'm so glad I got LASIK, dude. No more glass. Well, no more general have to wear them just to function glasses anymore. No more contact lenses. Although that was the worst. For like a month before I had LASIK, I had to stop wearing contact lenses to make sure I wasn't inadvertently giving myself a mild eye infection. So for a month, it was just glasses, and the glasses I had were terrible. So the arc, watch this, watch me mutilate this. The arc of Tamoachan, the pimply one. Here's a spacious vaulted hallway, much weathered and cracked from the wages of time. The walls are charred and scored. About are several stone statues of baboon-like creatures, chipped and tipped over. The remains of a few once living baboons, partially eaten, lie nearby, fungus covering their moldering corpses. As the hall is further penetrated, it is discerned that there was once a processional hall. Little remains to identify its past purpose except for a carving of a silver sun with a single eye etched in the worn floor. Characters may take precautions at this point, for the beast that lairs here will not attack until the party sights it from the hallway down the corner. And then we have this lovely illustration. I can't quite tell whose signature is on that, if indeed there is a signature on it. Let's zoom in a little bit, by which I mean an impossibly lot, and see if we can see if there's a signature on there. That is Darlene. That is the artist Darlene. Oh, we're coming up to one of my favorite parts. I don't want to spoil it. The sphere is... Oh, and I just said it a second ago. Tamoachan. The sun, a gas spore, and all the horrible stuff it can do. Though the party may believe it to be a beholder. And of course, everything goes bad from there. And it has treasure. How many gas spore encounters have you ever thrown at a party and had treasure in the gas spore's lair? None. I bet it is none. Yes, I saw that and I contributed to it. Not a lot, just what I could afford. But yeah, she's working on her Victorian home, Queen Anne, she calls it. Tamoachan, the sun, a gas spore, and you can receive a fish skin bag of 7 silver pellets. But this is one of my favorite parts in the whole dungeon. The Tomb of Pelota. Now, there are tombs that make your characters do, or dungeons that make your characters do math, try and figure out mechanics, play chess. How many of them make your characters play basketball? How many of them make your characters play basketball? Because I guarantee you, until you've gotten to and run C1, 0. Let's read on. I love this. The Tomb of Pelota. Approaching a bend in the passage, faint line drawings may be discerned on the walls depicting men playing a game with a ball and stone goals. Also illustrated is the death of some of the players by priestly knife. A little bit more intense. LeBron thinks he's being treated badly, and he goes crying when he steps wrong on the court, and somebody brushes by him like that close. He's got nothing on these guys. Nobody was expecting basketball. Where the corner bends, there is a capstone in the floor, filling the corner for about 10 square feet. The stone is gray and dust covered. Above this capstone in the southern wall is a 1-inch diameter niche, 5 feet above the floor and hemispherical in shape. Etched into the slab are several glyphs obscured by a layer of dust. The glyphs translate as, "Dare not open this pit unless you be willing to meet the challenge of the game." Beneath the stone covering is a pit filled with the skeletal remains of the losers of the game of Pelota. To open the tomb requires the application of leverage and strength total of at least 25 points. The potions and scrolls of enlarged person. Heck yeah. Atop the bones rests a glistening black ball, about a foot in diameter, and several figurines and a plaque of jade. Don't know if you're still out there, Crimson, but what can I say? The Olman lands are basketball school now. The ball was used in the game of Pelota and is made of rubber wound around a balsa core. The jade figurines represent flowers, and the plaque depicts two men with padding on their arms and hips bouncing a ball between them. There are other jade figurines in the pile of bones depicting a bare-breasted woman and a sun god in a feathered robe. It's the University of Gonzaga. Buried beneath the skeletons is a chalice of beaten gold, inset with 6 amethysts worth 120 gold and weighing a tenth of that. If any of the items are removed from the pit, a curse will fall upon their bearer in 5 to 10 rounds. This curse causes blindness, save versus magic applicable, and the victim will remain blind until cure blindness or remove curse are used to remedy it. The ball is cool to the touch and made of some resilient black material wrapped around and around and around. As the ball is picked up, it will suddenly jerk free and rebound from the wall. The ball self-animates for the purpose of challenging the violators of this tomb to a game of Pelota. The ball, armor class 7, hit dice, 0. Number attack 1, damage stun for 0 to 2 rounds if it strikes ahead, 1 chance in 10, or bruise for 0, 0, 1, or 2 points. Roll on an D4, will attack the party by bouncing off the wall and striking the characters. The ball will always hit. This ball will take no damage from blows struck by the party, but will bounce off the south wall of this hall, which will cause the circular nook to glow orange briefly. After the ball has bounced off the goal wall twice from blows struck by the characters and the goal has lit up twice, the ball will break off the attack and the game will begin. The purpose of this game is for the players to hit or kick the ball into the goal above the pit while preventing the ball from reaching its goal at the northern end of the hall. The south goal is the party's goal, and the north goal, 140 feet down the corridor, is the ball's goal. Both goals are lit by orange rings of light around their lip. The ball will move first, and then each member of the party may attempt to run up to the ball and strike it. Isn't this cool? Luther, you can't tell me this isn't cool. All right. A D&D module with a magical basketball game happening in the middle of it. The ball moves in increments of 5 feet. It will move 2 to 8 increments each round. If the ball is ignored, it will only move 1 to 4 increments, and the distant sound of a drum dirge will be faintly heard. The ball may bounce off any characters in the way, inflicting damage. Note, the ball will also bounce off walls to stay out of the pit. The ball may bounce itself into its own goal 50% of the time if within the last 5 feet of the quarter. The party has a chance to hit the ball if they pursue it. A successful blow to hit Armor Class 7 will send the ball south 15 feet per blow. If a character tries to grab hold of the ball, it will strike him or her and try to free itself. When within 5 feet of the open pit, a character must roll to see if he or she slips and falls in. A roll of 4 or less on 2d6. Any character who falls in the pit will be unable to strike a blow for 2 rounds. In order for a character to knock the ball into the party's goal, he or she must inform the DM that he or she is trying to and roll to hit at -2. Once the ball is knocked into a goal, it will stick there and be impossible to remove without destroying the ball. If the ball scores its own goal, 6 bolts will be fired at the party. That's a little different from basketball there. Hitting on an 8 or better and causing 2 to 5 points of damage each. If the party scores a goal, there will be the sound of triumphant drums, then silence. I mean, it plays We Will Rock You. This is just the best. The goal at the northern end of the corridor will continue to glow orange. If the party investigates, it will find that the cubicle is open at the back of this goal. Within the nook is a fish skin pouch. The pouch contains 13 pink pearls worth 15 gold each, a topaz and shell necklace worth 47, and a whistle made of an eagle's bone with feather decorations. The whistle will give the power of short bursts of flight at speeds of 18 feet for as long as the whistle is blown. The whistle may be blown 3 times a day, and the maximum length of one flight is 3 rounds. I love that encounter. I love that encounter. That is such, it is so cool. Honestly, that could be the last encounter in the module. Just win the basketball game, you can leave the shrine, right? It's just so cool. It is, man. It is. And then we have the Guardian Beast. And an understanding of history. Pelota was a real game, Wave of Mutilation. So the Guardian Beast. This room is decorated in a cat motif. So apparently we were playing against the Wildcats. The entire southeastern wall is carved to resemble a snarling face of a hollow-eyed tiger. In the center of the room, a stuffed tiger posed as if on the prowl. The left ear has been torn off in a jagged pattern. Oh, that's vandalizing the locker room, guys. Come on. Also in the middle of the room stands a statue of a tiger-headed man of dark complexion holding a spear. Placed about the room in varying poses are several stuffed domestic cats. These house cats are represented sitting, stalking, pouncing, and one is begging, pawing the air. One of the cats in the center of the room has been knocked over and chewed on. Its stuffing is falling out. Oh. On the walls are several lion and leopard skins, tiger heads, and a cat of 9 tails. Hey now. Hey now. Oh my. Oh my. Sulu. The statue of the cat man, is carved of stone and depicts a tall man with 2 extra set of nipples. By God, that's the kind of information that I am so glad was provided to us by Jeff Leeson. Thank you, Jeff. Carol Baskin. So anyway, yeah, superfluous nipples. He seems to be wearing a tiger face mask and is clad only in a loincloth. Didn't need to know that. Didn't need to hear that. At the left side of his chest is a jagged scar, and his chest is sunken and bony. The spear is stone hafted, but bears a silvery spearhead. So we're going to look at illustration 8. We are on page 14. Let's just zip down real quick. There we go. Again, that is an illustration by Darlene. I think that's a Cincinnati Bearcats logo. I could be wrong. I think that's it. Anyway, let's go to page 14. But what of it? We've seen what it looks like. That's not an extra. Hang on a minute. Do what? The 6 demon bag. A 6 demon bag. What's in it? Oh my gosh. No, without Oriental Adventures, I wish we'd gotten a D&D module that bold, because, guys, Big Trouble in Little China, we were talking about this on the Discord earlier today. Yes, we have a Discord. Big Trouble in Little China is without a doubt one of the best D&D adventures ever filmed. I mean, you've got... yeah, there's a little bit of guns, but I mean, it's mostly magic and swords. All right, so we've talked about the deets of the guardian beast. Hey, today's the 21st of September, so it's Earth, Wind, and Fire and all that sort of thing. Ba-dee-ya-dee-ya. Throwing knives works better than shooting guns. Well, in those cases, it certainly did. So we looked at the illustration. It's a were-jaguar waiting to ambush the party with a permanent statue spell. To all observation, he appears to be made of stone, but he can see, feel, and hear all that takes place about him. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Stuck there. If the altar is molested... oh my. If the altar is molested, the room's contents or abused, the were-jaguar will seize the first opportunity when the party's backs are turned to attack, and with surprise. He can become flesh in a sixth of a segment and will then transform into his cat shape, dropping his spear. His first choice of targets will always be the weakest of the party. If the were-jaguar is reduced to 4 or fewer hit points, or if he's killed, he will revert to his human form and his flesh will harden and become stone again. When changing back to a statue, the were-jaguar need never make a system shock roll. There was a beholder thing in Big Trouble. I would say it was more of the spectator. He had fewer eyes and made no eye beam attacks. Shoots him in the face. Everybody looks when it goes flying away. You never know till you try. Has anyone heard of anyone doing it? I would bet you dollars to donuts that my buddy Jeff Johnson out in Seattle, he loves Halloween. I can feel it in the air, the electricity from across 3,500 miles of distance. Jeff is getting ready with something either jack-o'-lantern or beholder related. He made, I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me just zoom back out. Where is it? Where is it? Is it? No, I think it's in a nook. Yeah, I can see it in the nook over there. But if you guys remember, Jeff made me a lovely, it's like the size of a softball, a beholder that is absolutely awesome. So hopefully he will he will be doing something cool like that. Maybe I can get him on the... I'm going to get... Jeff, you're coming on the show. Just wanted to let you know that. Free up your calendar. Show people your pumpkin or beholder sculpts. Sorry, I just had to talk to Jeff for a minute. Anyway, Tiger Man attacks, turns to stone if he dies. Oh, I think all of us as kids, I mean, when Big Trouble in Little China hit, I was like, that's a beholder. You know, I had that Leo DiCaprio moment, you know, and it's like, The were-jaguar's heart has been removed by magical surgery. Mayan magical surgery. All right, you guys hold his arms, you guys hold his legs, and I've got this obsidian knife. Presto! And the heart is undamaged for the most part. He's not doing so good. Anyway, the were-jaguar's heart has been removed by magical surgery and is hidden in the head of the stuffed tiger. Note the similar scars on man and tiger. The cat man may thus take damage and even die, but unless his heart is destroyed, he will be reborn again whole in 1 day's time. He has been placed here to eternally guard the gateway. If the lycanthrope's heart, armor class 10, 2 hit points, is destroyed, the creature will instantly die and his flesh will turn to dust. This figure should be treated as a stone creature for purposes of the ring of stone shape found further in the ruins. A secret door is concealed in the mouth of the wall carving. The catch to open is hidden in the hollow of the right eye. All the items hanging on the walls, blah, 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 etc., are worth 1,050 gold pieces. So if you have a penchant for interior decorating and your theme is Mesoamerican, come on down to Tamoachan's discount sundries, because walls, skins, heads, paintings, stuffed tigers, everything else stuffed in the belly of the stuffed tiger worth 1,050 gold pieces. And the calendar stone. The calendar, a great wheel of stone, is carved from limestone. In the center of the calendar is a symbol of the sun surrounded with various sigils depicting seasons of the year. It's 10 feet across and is mounted 5 feet above the floor over a stone altar. On the altar rests a ceremonial dagger of flint and the jade statue of a cat. At the foot of the altar is a stuffed cat posing as if begging or attempting to catch something in the air, and it's depicted on the DM screen for this module. Let's see if I can get to it. So we're on page 15. It's in maps. Sorry, that's I realize that non-repro blue is probably an assault on your visual senses there. Let me see if I can. There it is. That's what you find. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that is Errol Otis's work? I'm almost certain of it. Although we didn't get the kitty at the foot of it, but that is Errol Otis's work from 79 or 78. Can't quite read. 79, it looks like. So we get that. A beautiful piece by Errol Otis. A beholder, animated armor, some mongrel man, 3 bound demons, and a Chinese wraith. I don't know. I always thought that the big guy, if we're thinking of the right one, was a I treated him as an ogre, not an ogre mage, not a Chinese ogre, no, but as a D&D ogre. But I could be wrong. So let's pop back over. Let's go to page 15. Pick up where we left off. Wait, did I go to the wrong page? I feel like I did. Are we in the wrong place? Barred Pit? Or no, we came too far. All right. Okay, so the calendar stone, the tail of the cat is a scroll of protection versus felines. The calendar stone covers the secret passage to hidden tomb. It must be struck 2 or 3 times. It will then swing to one side on a huge set of hinges. Yes, the 3 storms. For some reason, I always thought those were like his sons or something, but, But then that doesn't make any sense because he was, getting married. I always thought one of the highlights of that movie was there's just a brief moment when he's talking about what he's looking for out of Mao Yin. And Kurt Russell says, was it 3,000 years? There hasn't been anyone else? Come on, you must be doing something seriously wrong there, Dave. He says, there have been others. There are always others. You seem to be a man who understands the difficulties, but you seem to be a person who understands the difficulties between men and women. And they just share this brief moment of, women, just like they're not at each other's throats. There's like, women, right? Yeah, you're right. I can't argue that. That is interesting. Mayans were obsessed by the number 13. They appear to have been aware of a 26,000-year astronomical cycle known as the Procession of the Equinoxes. Yeah, that's crazy. I love that 2012 thing. The Mayans predicted the Mayans ran out of room. The Mayans when you're not working with paper. Like, I think our calendar should be this big. That should fit everything in. Oh, crap. Well, nobody will interpret this to mean we think the end of time is going to come. They'll find our other writings and stuff and know that, like, this is just like, after this date, this calendar no longer valid. Use the next one, right? Right? They're not going to think the world's going to end. That's just stupid. Anyway. So the portal of death. This is what you want. This is what you get. Oh, that's the order of death by Public Image Limited. The Mayans were brought. Hey, I got that. I understood that reference. Behind the calendar stone is a long, narrow, unused tunnel, cylindrical in shape. The passage is barely 4 feet in diameter, and the walls are carved with a profusion of ancient and weird glyphs. Atropaic sigils, admonishing, cautioning, and cursing the trespasser. The floor of the tunnel is slick with a molten glassy glaze. The passage slants down and away from its concealed passage. These narrows open out 2 feet above the floor of a corridor running north and south. 3 sets of doors are visible, which open off this hall, one at either end of the hallway and one at the midpoint across the corridor. In front of this central door, the floor is sunk and glazed. This door is sealed with a 1-foot diameter golden seal. The door to the right is barred, and the figure of a bear holding a black vitreous disc of obsidian is set in its face. The lintel of the door is carved to represent intertwined serpents. I have to say this about the Mayans. I grew up watching In Search Of, and I've talked about In Search Of on this show before. And of course, my little 7, 8, 9-year-old mind was blown away by Mr. Spock telling us like it is. And to be fair, some In Search Ofs actually focused on science. There's an In Search Of where they talk about, in search of tornadoes. And it is about the science of studying a tornado. And back in the 1970s, either one of the universities in Iowa or Kansas, guess what? The U.S. Air Force loaned them an F-4 Phantom, and they used its targeting radar to map storms and track storms, and they fed that data back and synthesized it for weather data. They didn't talk about, UFOs creating the storms or anything like that, but they did. Thank you, Volcano God. Love some PIL. Love some PIL. This is not a super bomb, bomb, bomb. Anyway, and they talked about just various cool and interesting things from science. But a lot of times, yes, they talked about absolute bunk and pseudoscience. And one of them was, In Search of Ancient Astronauts, looking up that Eric von Daniken BS. And, Leonard Nimoy saying, did ancient astronauts carve these? I had a coworker when I was at Star Systems, and they hated it too. Okay. And so, but like weird things would happen with the IBM. I used to tease him and I'd say, did ancient astronauts cause the PBF file for Nations Bank to not update? He just wouldn't even look up from his keyboard. No, it didn't. So that was our running joke. Did ancient astronauts create these? No, they didn't. Yeah. Oh man. I mean, I could literally just do an open night one night and just talk about In Search Of. In Search Of was fantastic. And thank you again, Volcano God, for the super. It is always a pleasure. Yeah, Von Daniken was a Fruit Loop. So the portal to death. So we've got various stuff that can happen in there. The door is not locked, only barred, but will not open because it is a false door. When the door is pushed against, 3 arms will spring out from the lintel and pin the character attempting to open the door against it. None caught in the trap may free themselves, and only an unconfined character may attempt to free the victims. 30 strength points are required to pry back each arm, taking 1 round to move each band. Clothing and gear straps may have to be slit to allow the victim to squirm free in 2 rounds. However, half a round after the victim is trapped, a 10 by 10 foot wide, 15 feet deep pit will start to drop open. The pit below is lined with spikes. The cover will have fully opened in 1.5 rounds, at which point the bands will spring swiftly away, releasing the victims to plummet into the pit. Those who fall in the pit will take 1 to 8 points of damage. This is that's Von Daniken was Chariots of the Gods. He would go look at cave paintings in France, and he focused mostly on Central America. And if there was something triangular, cylindrical, or conic, that's a spaceship. That's obviously a spaceship. What that guy has wrapped around him is a spacesuit. Look, he's sitting at a computer terminal. He's moving flight controls. Absolute weird beard. He was the ancient aliens guy that really started the poisoning of History Channel, but he believed it. I don't know about this particular one. I have a terrible, horrible confession to make. And it's something you guys are just going to have to come to terms with and accept. I don't like the Goonies. I'm sorry. I don't. Sorry. Anyway, so it drops into the pit. The spikes are hard rubber wrapped around balsa wood, placed only for artistic effect. The door to the left has a groove worn in the floor, marking a path cut by the passage of countless feet. The sign of infinity is a symbol of the dual God, the supreme God, the God of creation. I just got canceled. I remember Project Blue Book, which is basically the Air Force saying, nope, there's no UFOs. We're debunking it all. Look at what we're debunking. No UFOs. Anyway, the door is wedged shut and attempts to open are made at -1. When the door is finally bashed open, it will swing open suddenly, dumping a gate crasher into a 5-foot deep cubicle. It acts as a one-way teleport into the Great Hall, number 15, through the painted mural of the continuing corridor. Excuse me, Wave of Mutilation? Excuse me. Princess Bride is one of the best fantasy movies ever made, ever. I love Princess Bride, beginning to end. It is like the perfect kiss, the perfect film. Princess Bride is absolutely a marvelous film. It is a triumph of filmmaking. Everyone in it is perfect. There is not a single bad scene in that movie. Find me a place where the Princess Bride drags. You can't. Find me a place where the Princess Bride isn't funny or engaging. You can't. Find me a place where the Princess Bride isn't heartbreaking. You can't. The Princess Bride is damn near a perfect film. Volcano God. Get on Twitter. Cancel me. Hashtag cancel Bill Sylvie. So they get teleported to 15. The glazed stone in front of the middle door is melted to form the imprint of two monstrous taloned four-toed claws. To either side on the lintel of the door are barely discernible scratches. And brown stains stipple the wall and floor. To open this door, it appears that the golden seal must be broken. A final warning depicting a creature of flame and death and ancient glyphs are scribed on the seal. The message on the seal is written in Olman and translates as, beware, beyond this door is death. Once the seal is broken, it may not be used to reseal the door. The seal is worth 270 gold pieces. When the doors are pushed open, 5 crossbows set in the ceiling of the room will automatically fire. 2 are aimed towards each wing door, and the last is aimed down at the center. The crossbows need to roll an 8 or better to hit the party, causing 2 to 5 points of damage. So it's not awful. Enough to kill a commoner, sure, but hardy adventurers just, ow. This isn't the portal to death. This is the portal to annoyance. Now, we actually talked about, we did a whole section when we were kind of skipping around talking about ancient Tamoachan, the tomb of Tlacalal. With the doppelganger and whatnot. So this is a fine place to pump the brakes. Guardians bar the ways. We talked about the Guardians. Kespa's Guardian Chamber. Apartment of the Dust of Ages. Yeah, I think we've gone over a lot of this already. Whoa. What? Sorry about that. The Barred Pit. So, haven't had my arcane nightcap. So we'll jump back into this. We are going to finish this tomorrow. We're just going to roll through this, but we're into almost 90 minutes now. We're going to kind of go free form. I'm going to go off script. I don't really have a script, but we're just going to going to shoot the breeze. A question for you guys is, we haven't really talked anything but Dungeons and Dragons for a long, long time. Are there any other classic role-playing games? Gosh, I'm trying to think. The last non-D&D thing we talked about, what was it? I mean, Gamma World, but I mean, we play Gamma World and we play Traveler and we play AD&D. Off script with no script is on script. So I guess we're on script now. But what is there? What haven't we talked about in classic tabletop gaming? And I'm not saying, if you guys don't give me an answer, I assume that we've talked about everything. Therefore, we don't have any more classic RPG stuff to talk about. I just mean, what haven't I covered that you guys would like to hear? Because we've done deep dives and character creations and just a ton of stuff. Palladium games, I have TMNT and Other Weirdness. One copy of which is courtesy of Volcano God, actually. Thank you, Volcano God, for that. And I have, there are Cyberpunk, Shadowrun, Alternity. I don't have Shadowrun. I might have some Alternity books, but I don't know if I have Alternity Core. But I do have Cyberpunk. I have the new one. The Robotech RPG. That's right. I have the Robotech RPG. In fact, Robotech and Battletech are two that I've been meaning to talk about for a while. I know back in the day we did like Let's Build a Character, and we did like classic Star Trek, because I've got the FOSSA Star Trek and some damn fine supplements for FOSSA Star Trek. Thank you, Jack Photon. By the way, subscribe to Jack Photon's YouTube channel. Jack makes great Star Trek content. You should go subscribe to his channel. Look for Jack Photon on YouTube. Let's get him up there, guys. Let's get Jack Photon up to 1,000 subs. I'm there for you, bud. I don't know if I have any RuneQuest. I don't believe I have Paranoia. Did I ever play? I've played a couple of AH games. Warhammer Fantasy. We kind of did. I know, Jack. I'm teasing you, dude, with the whole subscribe to Jack Photons. Jack Photon's Star Trek content is mad. But we've kind of sort of did character creation for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, but we can certainly deep dive back into Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay and do a play example and stuff like that. I got Torg back here, but I got to be honest. I've never played Torg. This is stuff that just came to me. So I couldn't speak well of it. Warhammer Fantasy did have some outstanding adventures. I mean, I think I gave my thoughts pretty. I think I coalesced my thoughts on Fossa Trek pretty well. I mean, if you want a deeper dive into Fossa Trek, I'll be more than happy to revisit it at some point. What was the name of the box? Marvel Superheroes. I'm not being funny, TJ. It was MSH, Marvel Superheroes. Phase Rip was the core system, Phase Rip. And I have not, because, again, I don't have it. Somebody, and it may have been Luther, it may have been Jack, somebody sent me a link, though, because apparently it's all open content now. And I got to go back and revisit that. But it's everything as PDFs. And if that wasn't either of you guys, I apologize. MERP. Don't there. Which MERP? Cubicle 7 MERP. Last Unicorn Games MERP. I guess Free League has MERP now. There was a MERP for a D20 for 5th edition, which may have been Fantasy Flight. Oh, now I could talk about some Hero Quest. Hero Quest. I could talk about some Hero System. I could definitely talk about some Hero System. Boot Hill, Indy Jones. Oh, we should get, who to talk Indy Jones. We should get Ty Beard on the show again. Ty loves Indiana Jones. And it's just been a long time since we've had Ty on the show. And Ty is awesome. But I've got Ice Hero System. I've got Hero Games Hero 5. I think I've got a stack of Hero 6 like this tall. Again, courtesy of Volcano God. If you want it back, my dude, let me know and I'll get it to you. I may still have some Bond. Because I'll tell you what, in setting this up and getting everything squared away like this, Star Wars D6. I do have Star Wars D6. I'm looking at the 2 core Star Wars D6, and I have the 2nd edition core source book in a box over yonder. In setting this up, I was so looking forward to getting all the stuff off the floor. And I'm still stepping around boxes and piles. And I know you might be thinking, oh, boo-hoo-hoo, you have so much role-playing game stuff, but a lot of it is stuff that I don't even want. I don't even want to cover it for the show. Shadowrun using the Hero System because you didn't like the Shadowrun system, but you still got to use big fistfuls of dice, and that's what counts. But honestly, I've been thinking about opening up a game store on eBay and selling this stuff. Just like literally just open up a store, put prices on this, take pictures, and just sell it. Buyer pay shipping, buyer pay shipping, buyer pay shipping. And for the majority of it, not charge more than like $25 a box set or a book just to get it the hell out of my house. And just pare it down. Because honestly, guys, I'm 52. I'll be 53 in January. I'm not a picture of health. Which is not to say, like, I'm not sick. I don't like cancer diagnosis or anything. But I mean, honestly, am I ever going to play Vaesen by fucking Free League? No. Am I ever going to run that an awesome Dragon Quest campaign for years and years? No. A game storage shed. I just want to be able to walk around my studio without tripping over things. And there's so much stuff I do want to share with you guys. Get a game storage shed. Dude, I'm so broke I can't even pay attention. But I just want to be able to walk around my studio and I want to have room. I haven't painted in months. The last stuff I painted was just to test those stupid contrast paints from Army Painter or speed paints. They were awful. Actor Jeffrey Lewis, who is a neat character actor, he played opposite Clint Eastwood in Any Which Way But Loose and Any Which Way You Can. He was in an episode of The X-Files, and it was a very fun and creepy and bittersweet episode about immortality. He was born like in the 1850s, and in the 1890s was the great Spanish influenza outbreak that hit New York, and you had millions of deaths. I mean, not in New York, but, you know, worldwide, but it was still pretty rough in New York. He was lying there and he saw death come for him. And basically the nurse tending to him had started to show the early symptoms of it. And he hid his eyes and he basically hid under her and made death take her away. And because he'd missed his appointment with death, he was immortal. So by the time of the X-Files episode in the 1990s, of course, he was 130 or 140 years old and looked like a 50 or 60-year-old man. And he was talking to Scully. And he said, she was like, you know, you would think immortality would be a wonderful thing. And he said, nope, it's not. It's terrible. 75 years. That's all anybody needs. That's all you need. 75 years tops. I don't agree with that. I want to stick around as long as I'm healthy and sane and nothing hurts. I want to stick around for a while. But the point is, the reality is, I've got more than a lifetime's worth of stuff here. So I have more stuff than I know what to do with. But that's a positive thing for you guys because there's a lot of stuff I can go through. Oh, don't leave, call staff. So we have plenty of content to go through as time goes on. And Lichdom, pros and cons, yeah. And I just, you know, I'm just wondering what I haven't talked about yet. I'm looking at stacks of stuff. I'm not ignoring you guys. And a softback Warhammer Fantasy roleplay over there. See some other stuff picking out. I mean, and we haven't even we haven't even like, as far as deep dives, what have we done? Well, we've done the S series, C2, GDQ, the A series, and we've still got I1, and people want I3 through 5. Now, I'm not doing Ravenloft. I'm just not. It's not one of my favorites. But there's lots of stuff, and I'm just feeling you guys out to see if there's anything you guys might want, anything you guys might be interested, like off the top of the dome right now, that you're like, hey, I would like that I haven't talked about. Because we can do that. We can absolutely do that. Wave of Mutilation wants Call of Cthulhu. The U series was good to the last one, kind of a mess. Oh, Village of Hamlet's coming up very soon, TJ. Village of Hamlet's coming up very soon. Yes, I did. We had a huge. Frankly, it was huge. You should. Let me tell you what. You should have been there. It was great, but it was terrible. Some of the adventurers going there, I assume some of them are good people, but really, they're not sending their best to Parentland. We're going to build a wall, and we're going to make the bandit kingdoms pay for it. But yeah, no, we've talked about SochConf. I just like we looked at the tournament version of C1. We looked at the tournament version of S4, which of course is just called Lost for Lost SochConf. That's it. Yeah. But yeah, no, there's like 5 or 6 videos in a row. Oh my God, I lost like 3 viewers just blipped out when I did the impression there. Oh gosh, I shouldn't do that anymore. Let me tell you something. They're good people. I love them. Come on, but stand up. Stand up. You know who you are. So we did, we did SochConf, and it was beautiful. We had Paul Stormberg on to talk about S3 with us. Tomorrow is much the same as tonight, although it's shorter, because after tomorrow's show will be like an hour, just like an hour steady, and then bang, I got to go right over and do the live stream, the college football live stream with my co-hosts. But we'll wrap this up. Watching that sanity score dwindle. So, but yes, Jimmy Invictus hits the nail on the head. Starting in October, the first Friday in October to the last Friday in October, we will be playing 1920s Call of Cthulhu on Friday on live stream. I want to make it a little bit more atmospheric, a little bit more engaging, and something I hope you guys enjoy. Hopefully I can bring it to the next level. You never played Call of Cthulhu? That is a shame, Baron. Well, you'll at least get to see a live Let's Play of some. So that for a short period of time, and I was surprised by the number of people that said, please don't stop playing Gamma World. It's only getting put on the shelf for a few weeks. But the Friday night Call of Cthulhu games will go until it is finished, by which I mean it is vertical, though. It's not lateral. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say we play for 3 hours a night the first 3 weeks, and we're coming up on the last week, and it's clear we haven't finished. We will play into the night until the adventure is done. We won't continue it into November, and we won't just leave it on, well, since you guys didn't find out, here's what happened. The MacGuffin was blah, this was blah. Wear your brown trousers, darn right. So that's how we'll be playing Call of Cthulhu. And then starting back in November, we'll jump back into Gamma World. So that's going to be oodles of fun. Call of Cthulhu is a lot of fun, and I will be providing pre-generated characters for the players. Them just like that. Let's see. Sorry, getting messages here. Yeah, it is kind of a shame, Jimmy. It really is. Lovecraft was an exceptional idea man. Lovecraft could write very well, and I think if HPL had been given a longer life, he probably would have branched out into other forms of science fiction. In the Walls of Erks is a pretty good example of Lovecraft just writing pure sci-fi. But yeah. Well, one thing is to be sure. When we're in game, when we're playing Call of Cthulhu, we're not going to be exploring H.P. Lovecraft as a person. 4 sessions in the game, just in the game, and that's all. So there's no, let's, as I know, a lot of our games, like our Monday night game, I'll stop and explain stuff to the audience because we do have people in the audience who watch the Tuesday streams. I mean, people who watch the Tuesday streams who literally don't know Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First Edition. It is a bit of a puzzlement to them. So what are you doing? How is this being resolved? Why did you say this? Why did they do that? And I like to stop and explain it to characters why things work the way that they do. I want to approach Call of Cthulhu a little bit like a radio drama in that there will be not much breaking with the narrative that's ongoing with the characters. Now, I have an adventure planned. I have notes. I have the pre-generated characters I'm cooking up. And certainly there's a degree of railroadiness to it. But at the same time, it's not going to be a rehearsed thing where it's like, well, okay, tonight, James, your character is going to go insane. Okay. So, let's work out how that's going to happen. That's not the way I'm going to do it. If they survive a given encounter, that's fine. If they're wiped out by a given encounter, they're wiped out by a given encounter. But the thing, unlike D&D, which is a dungeon crawl, where literally in the first room, I can roll a random encounter and say, 3 trolls appear, fight or die, and the party gets killed. We laugh. They roll up new characters. We move on. There isn't a lot of rolling up new characters, but most of the horror of the game is building the whole time. The last few encounters in a good Call of Cthulhu game are the ones that make or break the characters, usually break them, at least in their minds. And by that point, we've kind of come up to the logical conclusion of the game. But I'm not telling a story and just having the players read off dialogue that I've given to them. It can be railroady at times, but that's just kind of by necessity. So I hope that I will be a good keeper for the Call of Cthulhu game. You guys know how I run games. You've watched me run games. Yeah, exactly, Jimmy. Yeah, it's not like, to have the Gamma World characters gated in 1920 COC, then go to Boot Hill. No, that's... I'm not saying that I wouldn't have some Lovecraftian horror show up in Gamma World, and then the party falls into Boot Hill at a later date. I'm not saying I won't do that, because that could be great fun. Because those of you that have watched Gamma World on Friday night know that it is very much an anything goes kind of game. But at the same time, I certainly won't... I won't be introducing Call of Cthulhu that way. You loved Boot Hill. Baron, did you know that the illustrator of the very first edition of Boot Hill, Mr. Tracy Lesh, is a regular guest on the show? He did the art on my coffee mug, which you can't see because, thank you, wonderful webcam, for screwing up. But the original digest size box, it was this size book, I should say, for Boot Hill. All of the art was done by Tracy Lesh. Robotech versus Cthulhu. That game exists. I just can't remember what it's called now. But yeah, Tracy is a hanger-outer on this show on Fridays, and not on Friday, on occasional days. I was just thinking about Friday. And he did all the art. He and his father. Thank you, Awig. Cthulhu Tech. That's it. But yeah, if you dig through the older shows, you will find interviews with Tracy. He was lurking in the audience last night. And Tracy and I are working on a little project together. And that's all I'm going to say about that right now. So there is some cool stuff waiting in the wings. I have an embarrassment of riches of things to share with you guys and bang my shins on and trip over and wish wasn't here. Yeah, I've got multiple computers, plural, like under my feet. Anybody want a 4th gen i5 with 8 gigs of RAM and SSD and a GeForce GT 1030 video card for lightweight gaming in the Longwood, Florida area? Hit me up. Well, we're going to have Tracy on the show again soon. So you guys can talk to him and we'll talk about just cool stuff. Tracy is a swell guy. I really enjoy Tracy's company. His wife is a wonderful person. At QuestCon Orlando back in August 20th, yeah. He and his wife basically gave me a place to park my butt and just hang out for a few hours. Me and my emotional support kid. Rosemary came with me because she had never been to a gaming con and wanted to go. You missed last night, eventually to get in on the AD&D game if possible. Are you on the Discord, Baron? Are you on the Discord? Answer me! No, I know it lags. It takes time. I'm going to, here, you guys, I tell you what, you can join the Discord. Tonka Todd, who was not feeling well, not because of physical issues, but he's got some unhappy things to tend to, would admonish me, Bill, you got to share the Discord. So there it is. You can come to the Discord. You can join us at the Discord. So we will have Volcano God, if you're still out there. I'm talking about you. Your ears are burning. Volcano God will be here on either starting next week or the week after, joining the Monday game. I'll probably cap the Monday game at 6. He'll be our 5th. Healing the heart, definitely for sure. So anyway, I've been going for about 2 hours now, so I think I'm probably going to go ahead and take off. But before I do, I want to take a minute and I want to say a very extra special thank you to the folks who contribute on Patreon, of course, which I'm looking for an alternative to. There's some folks that support us on Subscribestar. Of course, you can buy me a coffee and you can donate straight away via PayPal if you want to do that. And there are some folks who do just that, not just super chats. They literally help keep the lights on around here. So let me give an extra special thank you to Joshua Garlock, Lord Corion, Ricky Maru, Mobius, Kevin Reynolds, Doomsword Deathmaster, Mark Simpson, Damien247, James F. Keck, and the whole James F. Keck Observatory in Hawaii, William Smith, the Dungeon Minister, Manny Wall, Mark Corey, Kevin Wood, Todd Sharp, Carnivore Farmer, Rob, Jeremy Roll, Bo Ganora, Mikey Mank, Sky Hernstrom. He's not a book, he's an author, and that's a book he wrote. Pete Sullivan, the DM's Council. Thank you all for helping keeping things going around these parts. And I do appreciate that greatly. So with that said, guys, I'm going to get on out of here. I'm going to have I'm going to go elbow bend the cold and frosty. And I will catch up with you guys. Thank you, TJ. Soon. Again, the Beholders are printing. They will be done in the next couple of days. So those of you who are ready to send me funds, I will let you know as soon as they're done. Have an absolutely stellar evening. And listen, let me tell you something. I love you all. And I mean that. I seriously mean that. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching the streams. Whether you watch live, whether you catch up later, like I know some of you do, I appreciate it. I really do. You guys are why I do this. Take care, everyone.